Welcome to another episode of the show on SportsNetUSA.net. And as always, Corey Neyland on your right side, up top, Mark Pavlovich on your left side with the mustache. Special guest, Rahshaun Haylock, down in the corner. We're happy to see him. And the head basketball coach of Golden West College, Tony Jimmerson, was happy to join us, and we're glad you're here. And we're going to talk some basketball. We're going to talk community college sports. And Rahshaun, I'm going to throw it over to you, and we're going to start us, and let's go.
Yeah, let's just talk some hoops. Appreciate it, Corey. Coach, thanks so much for joining us here today. I guess the first thing, how have you been able to navigate during this quarantine period, just in terms of with your guys and trying to assemble a roster and figuring out when the season's going to be and all that stuff? What kind of describe what this period has been like for you?
Well, thank you for having me on the show. It's been a challenge, for all college sports. For me, getting a roster, and it's a different ways of us recruiting now. We have athletes from high school who wants to transfer to college, JUCO, send us their videos because we can't see them in person. So it's kind of one of those things like I'm watching for the positive and negative things, what I want for the program and for the team. That's the biggest challenge right there. We're online. So for coaching online is really challenging. Having guys doing workouts, we're Zooming workouts, and some of the guys you can see that they're like, Coach, really, this is not working. And I'm like, hey, this is what we have to do for right now, and that's it. I know they're frustrating. I'm getting a little frustrated with it, but I tell them we're a team. We got to stay together. Building the team, we always have group chats, and we're texting each other every day, seeing how we're doing mentally. And luckily, we're going back to school next week. So we're going back on campus. But the only thing is not what everyone think it is. It's just conditioning. There's no, 5-on-5, 3-on-3, 2-on-2. There's nothing like that. We have to keep our 6 feet apart from each other. And I'm directing the guys with a mask on. They choose or not to wear their masks, but that's the rules that we're having right now.
Coach, I'm going to take us a little further back than Rahshaun did, because you're the new face at Golden West, but you're not the new face to basketball. So for those who don't know you and don't know your background, why don't you give us a little history of, you were that basketball star that decided to be a coach, you were somebody on the sidelines, and then take us all the way up to Golden West College and how you got there.
Whew. You take me way back. Feel kind of old, but okay. So originally I grew up in Compton, and after the LA riots, my family decided to move to Orange County and went to John F. Kennedy High School. I was fortunately to go to Cypress College freshman year. Had a slight surgery, so things didn't plan out well there. I went to Long Beach City College after that. Got a scholarship to New Mexico Highlands. Played there. From there, the coach had a transfer. He went to another school, so I went to the NI school in Oklahoma. Graduated from Oklahoma University of Science Arts of Oklahoma. Then after that, went overseas, played about 8 years there. Had a chance, blessed to work out with the Miami Heat and the Clippers. Didn't make it too far over there, but I had a chance to work out with those teams. Then I went back to overseas. I played in China, some in Australia, Japan, and then when I decided to really figure out what I want to do with my career, I was talking to my Long Beach City College coach, Gary Anderson. He's a big mentor to me. And I was like, hey, coach, I really want to coach. And he was like, hey, get your bachelor's, get your master's, get those degrees so you could be set. So I retired from playing overseas. I went back to school to Concordia University in Irvine. And then I went to Santa Ana College, and I was there for 9.5 years. We won the conference champions in 2014. It was a good run. I missed that place. Appreciate everyone, the administrations there. They was a big support for me. And then, excuse me, when Golden West opened up, I just went ahead and applied for it, and I was blessed to be the first head coach out of, I believe, between 15 and 18 years. They did not have a program, and last year was our first season.
Coach Tony Jimmerson joining us here. You talk about some of that time overseas. Um, what, what was that process like? Just being able to get over there. I know a lot of guys, they have tryouts, they have workouts. Some guys make it, some guys don't. But you had an 8-year career, so obviously you were able to put it together. What was that process like? Just kind of getting your career started, but then also prolonging it the way that you did.
So I was very blessed because you have to get an agent. Okay, and I was very blessed to come out of Oklahoma, and my agent, Richard Avery, rest in peace, he passed away. He took me on his wings and, just put me out there. It was like combines in Florida. He was like, hey, go out there and, just do your best. And so in those combines, they put you through every drill you think of. You run a 17s, suicides, and they're timing you. And then you're doing like different drills for different positions, so every GM or owners, they could see you, what you could do, and then after that you're out there playing against the best of the best out there. Going back in college, I was blessed to play against Danny Granger, and John Lucas. I was blessed to play against those guys, and to be the best, you got to play against the best. And that really showed me where my skill set was, where I could go against Danny Granger. Was okay, I know you're an all-star in the NBA one day in college. And if I could stick you in and handle you, I know I can make it overseas. So going back to your question, the process was really challenging. It was a challenging process. Because you could go to one team and they like you for like 2 weeks and like, okay, we don't like how this was, and cut you. But you have to get back on the horse and keep, trying for teams. That's why my agent, Richard, he was really good at it. He was just like, hey, you know what? This seems not right for you. Let's go somewhere else. So my trust was in my agent to get me where I need to be. Even some of the teams I didn't like to be on, but you're out there to play ball and it's a job.
Playing overseas, we were talking about you're getting in there, roughing it up with the players. What do you bring from overseas to the American game? Well, I can't even say American game anymore. What do you bring from overseas here that you didn't see growing up playing ball?
That's a good question. Again, like I said, I grew up in Compton. So for me, when I was playing with the older guys out there on their blacktop, it was tough, And overseas, it's the same thing, but even tougher. So it's a mental and physically being tough, because over there they don't care. They just, if they can clothesline you, they can clothesline you and get away with it.
Okay.
and so for me, it's like, wow.
I like that. I like that.
No, you just explained the way Mark Pavlovich plays basketball. Clothesline, he might not clothesline you because he might not be big enough, but he's definitely gonna low bridge you. So
right, and that's what we saw a lot. It was when they see you as an American, they're like, "Oh, you have the great life. You got the freedom. So we're struggling over here, so we're not going to let you come over here and outdo us. We're going to outdo you mentally and physically." So even though I had that in store in me already from growing up, I think going over there kind of brought that out even more for me. And so when I came back here to America, I saw a lot of kids, young adults, didn't have that strong mental attitude, like if you're down 15 or someone fouled you pretty hard, they just want to sit up and cry, run to the referees. Like, he hit me. It's like, no, stop. Get back on defense and play ball. Get over it. There's other words I would like to say, but we can't say those words. But those are the things that it was just like I just wish I could just take certain things out of me and just put in certain athletes or all athletes in today's generation. Because I hate to say this, but I'm going to say it from Charles Barkley. This generation is soft. I'm sorry. My players are probably going to hear this, but they hear this from me already. I'm just going to be honest. Because you have to be mentally and physically strong. You have to. Because prime example, when we're playing against Saddleback or Fullerton, they got these big, cornbread free big dudes who are 6'10", probably like almost 300 pounds, and they get rebounds, you get popped in the mouth. You want to sit up here and cry about it. It's like, no, get up, wipe your mouth, and just get back on defense and figure out how to, play against these big guys, and that's what really taught me from overseas. It's like, I'm only 6'5", and I was playing like the Barclays and, being real physical down there in the paint. And I love playing down in the paint. But overseas, it's like those big guys are like very, their footwork and everything, their skill-wise is just on point. There's certain things like I've seen, like Paul Gasol do that some of over here can't do. So things that I was seeing from them, from all position of playing basketball there, I brought that back here to the American. But mixing in with our culture too at the same time. Not saying that we cannot play ball, but there's certain things and skills that they have that we don't have. And vice versa. Certain skills we have that they don't have. That's why you see a lot of overseas coaches over here, and you see a lot of American coaches going over there, because we're teaching each other different things and talent and skills that some countries don't have.
And Rahshaun, before you ask that,
oh no, Corey, I got to throw this in. Coach, thank you for saying what you said. So Corey, I'm gonna leverage it. Get off the pavement and quit whining. See, he's soft, Coach. He's soft.
No, see, that's the problem. Because Rahshaun, before I let you get into it, I grew up watching Big East basketball, and I was over in the Czech Republic. That's why I asked you that question, because I was over in the Czech Republic with my wife during the time when I got a chance to watch a lot of basketball there.
Right.
And it was a cross. I've never seen it. It was a cross between the Big East and the footwork that they didn't have in the Big East growing up. So when you mentioned the thing that you brought over, it's like, it was amazing. The basketball was very physical, but when you got down low, you saw guys just moving fundamentally sound, and it was kind of shocking to me. All right, sorry, Rahshaun, go ahead.
No, that's great, Coach. So give us some of you hear horror stories all the time, right? Like I remember watching during the lockout, Aaron Brooks was stuck over there because they wouldn't let him out of his contract, so he couldn't come back here to play in the NBA, and they did a feature on him, and he was talking about how he's eating hot dogs every day because he didn't like the food over there. You alluded to it earlier in the sense that, if a guy gets hurt, he gets cut, or they can cut you at any time. Like, what are you peel back the curtain a little bit? What are some of the horror stories that either someone that you know of endured, or maybe you even endured yourself?
Well, I have both stories. I'm gonna go with me first. My first pro team was in Mexico, and it was in I forgot the name. That's how old I am. Sorry. And literally, the coach was like, "Hey, coach," he was like, "Tony, I need you to get 15 points and 9 rebounds." So my first 2 games, I was like, easy, done deal. Got those 2 games out of the way. The third game went to Arkansas, and we played a semi-pro team over there. Well, that game I had like a really bad game on it. I had like 6 points, maybe 3 rebounds with like 3 fouls. By the time we got in Mexico, I walked in my hotel room, and there was a ticket, my bags packed already, and they were like, I got a phone call. I went to sleep. I woke up in the morning around 5:45. I remember exact time. And there's hey, be ready about 6:30. You're going to the airport.
Huh.
No, nothing. Just you're going to the airport. Okay, call my agent. I'm like, Rich, what the hell is going on? He said, hey, Tony, they cut you. where's my check and where's my game film? Well, don't worry about that. I'm going to take care of that. Well, they didn't get no game film. They didn't get no check. I was on a plane back here.
Oh,
And then,
wow.
yeah, it's a cutthroat. That's what I tell a lot of guys today. Like, if you're not, it doesn't really matter if you're a top player in the D1, it doesn't matter. You could screw up any time, and the owner or GM be like, I don't want him. Bye. You're just a replacement. That's all it is. I have one of my good friends, I'm not going to mention his name. Same thing happened to him. I mean, he went to one of the schools out here, one of the Cal States out here, and really good athlete. He basically went, I believe he was in Australia, and he was in the top Australia. He was in the A group, and he had one bad game, and they sent him home right after the game.
Wow.
His stuff was, after the game, he walked in the locker room, and his stuff was sitting right there next to his locker room. They told him to take a shower, and we got to go. And so he thought, okay, they're going to move us to a new hotel room. He was the only one. He drove to the airport. They got out of the car, threw his bags on the ground, gave him his plane ticket, gave him his last check. It's like, you're done. And that was it.
So, Coach, I know how Corey and Rahshaun like talking the pro basketball, and I keep bringing you back to where you are today. So I'm confused what they keep talking about. All the young men that we've dealt with, be it Rahshaun at Golden West College calling games, Corey and I over at Fullerton College or Vanguard University, you meet athletes all the time that they just know they're going to make it. So the stories you just told us, when you sit there and tell them to your players, do they buy into the stories, or do you have young men that are sitting there in front of you and you're rolling the eyes like Corey and Rahshaun do when I talk about when I grew up, because they go, oh my God, come on, man, that's not real. I mean, how do you pound it into your student athlete's head? Hey guys, maybe want to be a pro, but I was really darn good. I had a career. I traveled all over the world with a basketball under my arm. But here I am now at Golden West College. Understand something. Sometimes it just doesn't matter how good you are. How do you get them to believe your stories is the big thing.
That's a great question right there, because I do this every year. I get guys who are like 5'10", 5'6", 6'8", all the time, and I tell them my story and my testimony, and I let them know. I say, fellas, if you think I'm lying, and I always bring a couple of guys who I play ball with to speak to my players, my student athletes, and some guys get it, some guys don't, some guys, okay, whatever, they like, you could totally see in their face, like, we're not going to listen to you. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I'm going to make it. I don't knock people down, knock anyone's dreams down, but all I can do is give you the foundation and tell you how it's going to look. And then it's up to you. If you want to go through the heartaches, go through the heartaches, because it's not easy, And I tell them all the time, the fellas, first things first. If you want to go overseas, but at least have a degree. Have something to fall back on, because you don't want to go out there and you're out there for 2 weeks and then you're done. I have one kid that came to me. He's from Los Angeles, and he wanted to come before the pandemic hits. He was like, Coach, I really want to play pro ball, but I want to play for you too. I said, that's fine. Come, play 1 year of college, get that 1 year into your belt, and then do whatever you want to do. But get that AA. Get something underneath you, because you just don't. Nothing is promised. I don't care what career you're in. Nothing is promised. If you have those the papers behind you, you're kind of secure in a way. You have that foundation where you don't have to worry so much. He went overseas. He played 1 game. He comes back. Coach, can I play? I'll say, did you get paid? Yep. You're done. Now you proving what I was saying, that don't do it. He's like, there's ways we could get me in. No, it's not. You're done. So I tell them, sometimes you got to let athletes and these kids today, young adults, men today, to go through the rough paths, to let them open their own eyes. Because a lot of times when us guys who are like older and been through the ropes, they don't want to listen. They just have to go through it for themselves. And I would say, hey, I pray for you and I hope for the best.
And so we want to circle back to the education because we really want to hit on that. So when you bring in your experience as a player and as a coach, and you're starting a program from scratch, and we just talked to another coach the other day who started a softball program from scratch. What are you looking for to build that program?
So I tell my guys all the time, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I was an A student. I was like a B, high C student. I'm not going to lie about it. But I know the heartaches from going through education and not having it, see my friends and peers going through, the struggles, not having an education and playing ball. And I tell the guys all the time, if it's a C, you're still passing. So with my program, the way I built it and what I'm still building it today, I tell them all the time, you will have a 2.9 or better. There's nothing below 2.9. I don't care what you do, you better get a 2.9 or better. Or even better, let's go 3.0. So my first year, last year, majority of all my guys had about, I think, between 3.2 and above. Because I told them, I said, if I see it below 2.9, you're not going to be playing. And if you think you're going to play, then you're going to run for it. Every grade that you miss that is not a 2.9 or better, you're going to run. And I don't care if you throw up. You don't throw up in my gym, throw up outside. So, and they bought in. They try to test it. I'm like, okay, go ahead and test it. I'm just going to run you until you understand that education is important, And I tell them, what are you going to do when the ball stops dribbling? What are you going to do? Because you can't keep playing ball the rest of your life. There's only a handful of the LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, even Kobe, to play 16 above years in the pros, even overseas. There's just a handfuls of them that could actually say, like, I don't need education. I'm going to keep playing. I'm God talented, and I could, invest my money. If you're not part of that group, you have to do this. There's no, going around it. There's no shortcuts. And I tell my guys all the time last year, if you think you can try to shortcut from education, skipping practice, whatever is in life, it's going to eventually come back to you. That every time corners you cut, it's going to come back to you. And you're like, well, why does this happen to me? Why did you have to take that shortcut? Why can't you just stay on the straight path and just get stuff done? You're not married. You don't have no kids. You're by yourself. So get this stuff done today, and you don't have to suffer in the future. Sacrifice today. You don't got to worry about it in the future. Because eventually, everything you sacrifice today, you will get it back. You will come back to you 100%. I believe it. I lived it. I did it myself in my life, that I sacrificed so much to be where I'm at today, to be a head coach. Being at Santa Ana College for 9.5 years, it wasn't always, a pleasing job being an assistant coach, because sometimes I didn't get paid, but I sacrificed for it. I worked hard, to stay where I was at. And eventually I was blessed to be a head coach. And I use that all the time to tell guys, like, it goes back to the GPAs and education. You have to get this stuff done, because I don't want any of my athletes to come back to me 5 to 10 years later. Coach, you wasn't hard on me. Coach, how come you didn't help me out? Oh, I did. I helped you out. I tried to help you out. You had made your own decision, and so that's all I could do. You had someone in your corner.
Coach, you're taking me back. I remember working for the basketball team when I was in school, and the guys would mess up in the classroom or miss study hall or something like that. They had to wake up early the next morning, and one of the assistants would drop them off at the train tracks. Now, keep in mind, my whole time there on campus, I never knew where these train tracks were. So that means they were so far. guys would have to run all the way back to campus.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, sometimes you just gotta, sometimes you gotta prove a point, right? You gotta prove a point sometimes. Take me through last year. Obviously, I know that. Well, actually, before I get to that, just in terms of the challenges of coaching, right? Like you spent 9 years as an assistant. Now you get your own program, and you have kind of this cornucopia of players, right? You got some guys just out of high school. I know you had a big contributor on your team last year, was in his mid to late 20s and had experienced so many things in life.
Right.
What's it like getting guys from all of these different walks, all of these different backgrounds, different parts of their life, and kind of meshing them together to become one team?
Well, it's always a challenge because at the junior college, we don't have so much time with these guys. Sometimes we have a year, sometimes we have 2 months, sometimes you might only have 3 to 6 months, depending on, at the next level, if a coach really likes a player, and let's say at the end of the semester of the fall, they can take them. So it's a challenge, but it's the point where it goes back to when I was assistant coach. I was blessed that my head coach Dave Bragg allowed me to recruit and put the teams together and practice and get a foundation with these guys from different cultures, different things in life that each of them they've been through. So when I became a head coach, it was kind of easy for me. It was like, okay, I know where you're from. I know your mindset. I know your attitude, and I know how to put these guys' characters, match them up. Even though they might not like each other, or as we all know, as athletes, we we all want to win. We all want to play. It's a competitive on teams. So it's not that hard for me because it was like, okay, I did this 9.5 years. I just got to, take my time and gel these guys together. And last year was pretty challenging for me because I had a lot of egos. I had a lot of guys that want to prove themselves, and which is fine. I'm not taking that away from them, but they couldn't get it to the point where they could work well together. Because when they did work well together, I mean, it looked like an all-star team. I mean, Sean, you saw at some of our games how we're down 15 points, and then we come back and we're only down 3. It was like that all through the whole season. And it was just like, why can't you guys be like this all the time? But it goes back what I said, it's the egos. And I'm like, okay, well, this is your season. I'm not playing because if I was playing, trust me, half you guys won't be playing at all. You'll be sitting on the bench at the end crying with the towel over your face. But, but I guess for me to answer the question, it wasn't that much of a challenge for me for being an assistant coach, and Dave Bragg allow me to get that type of experience to gel guys from different cultures and different diversities. So it was more like, for me, it was like, oh my God, this is fun now. Like I get to be the captain of the boat. I'm the one who get to like match these guys together. So it was a fun thing more than like a heartache thing.
Coach, Rahshaun just touched on it because I saw you got a new recruit when I was looking up things on you. And I look at his stats and he's averaging 8 points a game and 2 rebounds. And I sort of look at it and go, wait a minute, that kid is almost me, except I'd average 4. So as a coach, when we talk about community colleges and you say you don't have them that long, what do you look for when you go out recruiting in a player? I mean, if you looked at Rahshaun Haylock and Corey Neyland, what's the first thing you're going to find out about them if they want to come and play at Golden West College? What do you want to know about them as a recruit?
Attitude and character. Attitude and character runs deep with me because if you have good character and your attitude is right, you're coachable. But if you're walking around the court thinking like, oh, I don't need this, I'm better than anyone on the court, I'm not going to look at you. There's good athletes out there that have crappy attitudes, and it's just make things harder as on my staff and on the team to actually get them together. So that's what I look for. I look for character. Character is huge with me, because where I'm at in Huntington Beach or wherever, athletes are at, your character and your attitude can take you far from where you're at from today. Um, it worked for me. I was very blessed to have old school coaches that, took me on their wings and they told me, hey, if you have a crappy attitude, who wants to work with you? If your character is crappy, who wants you? No one wants to deal with you. So whenever time, even when I'm watching and I'm looking at their body language on the court, if if there was a bad call or they getting subbed out, I'll look at that. Body language is everything, and if you have a bad body language, I don't want to deal with it. But at the same time, I know there's young men out there who hasn't been taught about bad body language and the character. So there's is a half and half thing where I have to like, okay, I got to take the good and bad. I got to help these young men out to make them understand, like, hey, this is what it means by good character, good body language, and attitude. So that's what I mostly look at. Lastly, I'll look at their skill wise, like, okay, are you a good 3-point shooter? Can you dribble? Can you make free throws and so forth? But that's it right there for me.
And coach, when you get that character driven player, and we've seen your teams play at Santa Ana, we've seen your team play last year. What type of style are you trying to incorporate when you get the players you want on the floor?
When I get on the floor, I'm looking for them to give them all from the whole 94 feet. I'm talking about defense and offense. I want you to do your best. I'm looking for players that will actually, be teammates and pass the ball to each other and get other teammates open and be there for each other on defense. And someone gets beat, I want that opposite guy to run over and take that charge. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for them to just give me their all, no matter if they get 2 minutes, 3 minutes. I want them to give me their all the time. And as you know, Rahshaun, you've seen where I leave certain guys in, and that's only because I know that they're giving me their all. They're not going to give up, a minute or two just to relax. They're going to keep playing until they can't play no more. I'll look for that because it says something about that players. It's saying that, I have heart. I don't want to be beat. I want to win. I want to be better than where we're at today. And I want to make myself individually better. That's what I look for. And when these guys come in and say, oh, coach, I'm this, I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. So you want all those guys that talk a lot. I don't like guys that talk a lot because the ones that talk a lot can't really do nothing but just talk. So you keep talking on that bench, probably like the 15th chair at the end of the bench because I won't hear you. I promise I won't hear you.
Because they don't listen. Yeah, because they don't listen for one. Yeah.
So, but
oh man, that's great.
I mean, you've seen that all the time. Like, I pull guys out and they put their head down. I'm like, oh, you didn't think I saw it? I saw it. Go sit down. And they keep itching at the end of the bench. Part of the time, I probably look at the 8th seat on the bench, and I probably won't look back down. Because if I see you way down there, you're not going to get in the game. Because that tells me already you're selfish and you're all about you. You're not about the team. You're not about the coaching staff. You're not about the college. You're all about you. Because if you go, and I tell the guys all the time, when you move to the next level, it's not about you. It's not about your name on the back of your jersey. It's about the name in front of the jersey. It's about that university. It's about that coaching staff. It's about the alumni. It's about everyone who set that foundation for you to be where you're at today. So, and also your family who sacrificed a lot for you to be where you're at today. And if you want to say it's about me, honestly, you lost already.
Coach, I know you talked about how fortunate you were during your time at Santa Ana to kind of get some stock in the program and have some freedom and some luxuries to be able to do some things from a recruiting standpoint and putting teams together and all that. They say, I've heard a lot of coaches say the most toughest move is those 6 inches from that assistant chair to the head coach chair. What what is something that, you know, from last season, your first season as a head coach, that, you know, that maybe was a little more challenging than you thought it would be?
You know, that's a great question because, like you said, the 6 inches from the chair to from assistant to head coach, that's a challenge right there. And one of the greatest coaches, I think, Coach Matthews, he told me the best. He said, in other words, your butt's gonna be so tight, you don't know if you could breathe or do what else out of that part when you sit in that chair. And I
And
was
coach,
like,
coach, real quick, coach, could you
yeah,
repeat the name of the coach that gave you that? Because it kind of broke up.
Coach Matthews from Riverside College.
Okay, all right.
There's certain
Oh
things
yeah,
he said
Jordan and
it was funny.
Jordan's dad, right? Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
Jordan's dad. The challenge for me was, I want to say, trusting my assistants because it was like everything was on me. It was nothing. When I say this, it's nothing against my assistants. We talked about this already. They know the spotlight is on me. So for me, and I will say, my ego was like, oh no, I got to show everyone. But honestly, it was like, I need to trust my assistants. My assistants had my back. My assistant was like, hey, you need to do this. There's things that as a head coach, we see things that our assistant coach won't see. And vice versa, our assistant coach will see things that I don't see. Um, and during the whole year, all my assistant coaches were like, hey, Tony, like, you need to relax. You got to chill out. I'm like, you don't get your bleep away from me. But now, going into my second year, I'm calm because I just want it so bad. I want to show myself, my family, the district, the college, the community of Huntington Beach. I want to show everyone like, hey, I am a good coach. You guys picked the right guy for this job, you know. But at the same time, my downfall was I wasn't listening to my assistant coaches at times during games. And I was blessed that my assistant coaches are still coming back, and they were just like, "Hey, Tony, don't worry about it. It's your first year. This is all our first year being together. We're learning each other, how to coach with each other." So, Coach Ed Fisher, I know Coach Ed since I was at Santa Ana. Okay, and that's over probably I want to say like 8-9 years. My other assistant coach Mason Jones, he was my rookie assistant. So I was like, yeah, shut up, get out of my face. You don't know anything yet, you know. But at the same time, he knew what I was saying. He knew that he was like, it's not personal because this is his first job in the college. But now we grew, we're growing a relationship with each other. We understand each other better. So now next year comes, we're all on the same page now. Because last year it was all about, I hate to say it, about me. Like, I got to get this guy's ready. I got to get this guy ready. Like, I was doing so much on my plate that I should have took advantage of my assistant coach and said, hey, you guys take care of it. I'm going to be over here. I need to relax. But not meaning relax, not coach, but relax where I could just sit back and observe practice, observe, certain plays and stuff. I wasn't doing that. But now I'm mature in my position. I understand I need to trust my assistants.
Coach, before we let you go, because I know my two partners on the other side of the screen are going to disagree with me. I'm going to ask a basketball question that drives me nuts. Mr. Neyland and I watch a lot of basketball with each other.
Mm-hmm.
How come nobody plays defense in basketball anymore? It drives me crazy. Strategic level, I don't care what Corey Neyland says. They don't play defense, Corey. And on the pro level, hey, a great game is 142 to 138. Why didn't you make
How
5
about you
layups?
go,
Go ahead, Coach.
how about you go like 180 to like 150?
There you go. I mean, Coach, being an old guy, you talk about you being the old guy. Being the old guy, I love hard-nosed, in-your-face defense.
Same here.
Why? Why don't I see it? What is wrong with these young players?
You know what? I don't know. I don't know why, and I don't want to figure why, because it probably would drive me even more crazier. Okay, because you see, you're about to put me in my coach mode where I'm about to just blab stuff out that I can't say really. That mother effer and get your mother BBB. Yeah, so I'm gonna slow down. So, but I'm on the same page with you because it drives me crazy. A guy would drive and get a layup, and you olay him saying, "I don't want to get my foul. Take your layup."
Yeah.
And it's like, to me, when I was playing ball, I was the dirty player. I was a Charles Barkley, the John Stockton, the Dennis Rodman, put in one at 6'5". But today, to answer that question, I don't know, because I'm still beating my head on the wall every time I come home. My wife is like, "What do you need? I got the pillow right here. Do you want to slap it? Do you want to hit it? What?" Because it drives me nuts. It drives me insane. Like, keep the guy in front of you. Don't reach. Don't slap. Don't Freddy Krueger him and scratch him on his arm. Say, "I didn't touch him," and his arm is bleeding. Who did it? Casper? No, you didn't foul him. Like, just it drives me nuts.
Welcome.
Corey,
No.
2-on-2. The coach and I are on the same team. You and Rahshaun, check your health insurance. We'll play you.
That is, you know what? It's okay. I'm gonna shoot from 30 feet away. I ain't going near you guys, and you guys gonna win.
You can't be on the floor with me because
No,
if you
no,
even go 30 feet, I'm gonna go 30 feet and make sure I'm right in front of you,
no.
so you don't shoot 30
But,
feet, so you get
but,
back. So I'm gonna hit you again.
but here's the thing. I love that. And Mark and I have talked about it. We were talked about it with Rahshaun. The physicality of the game and knowing how to play defense is really missing. There are some guys that can play defense and some ladies who can play defense, but it's not as a whole. And we totally agree with you. It is missing part of and it's tough on you. And we've heard your answers. Because we have a few minutes, I'm trying to incorporate this into it. The OEC, the conference that you coach in, is magnificent. Mark
Challenge.
and I feel that it's the best conference in community college in the state. We feel it's the best conference. Oh, and this is overall for all sports in the nation.
Yes, it is. It is. I tell guys all the time. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I tell guys all the time. If you step in this circle of OEC, you better put your man pants on and not your boys pants on, because we don't play. Guys and women want to get out of here. They want to go to the next level, and they will do anything and everything to do their best. And I love this conference. I played in this conference. I went to Service College, and I played in it too. So I know what this conference is about as a player and as a coach. And as a player, back then, 99, 2000, it was a challenge because, it was just a hard nose, both sides of the court, offense and defense, playing hard. And if you wasn't playing hard, you would never saw the court. And I love this conference. I hope I can retire from coaching in this conference. I love it. I don't want to go nowhere. This is the place to be.
Rahshaun, we got a couple more questions for you because we're running up on it. So, Coach Tony Jimmerson, the head coach of Golden West College basketball. Rahshaun, go ahead for one more. Give Mark one more, and we're gonna go back to Rahshaun for the last one.
Yeah, Coach, I just think you talk about just the maturation process going from year one to year two. But obviously a whole different challenge, right now in the middle of the pandemic. Where do you see, you kind of see yourself making strides, and how will that, how will that product look on the floor once you guys are able to start tipping it off?
That's a good question. It's a challenge because we don't have that much time to work with my guys or the student athletes. I don't have that much time. I'm not sure how much time they will give us with this pandemic. All I can say is, I'm going to do my best as to coach these guys, give them the best shape that I can. and just hope and pray that they buy in and see the product, flourish. I mean, that's basically where I can really say, because it's up in the air right now to actually say where we could be at, with my team. I have confidence in my guys. I know that they're hungry. I know that they want it, but ultimately are they going to buy in? And if they buy in, I think we'll be just fine.
Well, since I get one last question, Coach, Corey and I were on a show the other night that we had to sort of defend ourselves as a player because you've been there. You have played the game. So I'm going to be like Don Sutton. Since you've played the game, you know much more than the rest of us do. And then as a coach, you get to assess talent. So your personal opinion, the greatest basketball player you've ever seen play the game. You only got, I know you'd give me 12 answers, but give me one.
No, you get you, and you can. You can have three.
Okay, Corey amended it.
No, you can go one, but if you had three, because it's hard to narrow down just one. So if you had,
So I'm going with Magic Johnson. Jesus. Michael Jordan, of course. That hurts me. And I got to go other great players too. But living in California and, I've seen Magic play when I was like a little baby almost, going to the Coliseum and watching them play with James Worthy and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Like, I've seen those guys in person. And also I saw Michael Jordan, Dennis Rodman, Tony Kukoc. Like, I've seen the greats play. And that's a hard question, but because of the time is short, I'm going with those three.
Okay, and Rahshaun, I know you had the last question, but I'm sorry, I lied. One more. Then back to Rahshaun for the last question. Since Mark brought up the question, I've always wanted to ask Coach. Now we at the professional level, but not at the professional level, like a community college level or in your travels. Who are a couple of the best players? We don't have to know who they are, but names of the couple of the best players you played against or saw.
That I played against?
Yeah, did you play it against or you saw as a coach at a community college level?
For me, who I played against, like I said, John Lucas, Danny Granger, the Graham brothers, Joey Graham and Stevie Graham. Those were, when I was in college, those guys were Joey Graham, Stevie Graham, they were about 6'5", 6'6", just like me. And those guys are like twins of beasts. Like, when I played against those guys, when Joey went out, I said, okay, I get a breather. Nope, Stevie came in. And I was like, oh, God, please stop this pain. Please, just stop this. For players that I coach, QV, QV, I forgot his last name. QV going to be so mad at me. But QV, he played for us in Santa Ana. He was a really good player. Really, QV Johnson. There it is. QV Johnson. He's one of those guys. He was about 6'3", about 6'4", slim, 175, and we were in Compton tournament, and I think we were playing against Compton, and it was about like 8 seconds left going to the second half, and I said, hey, I told Coach Bray, hey, give the ball to QV. Let's end the game. Going to half with a score. He's all right. So we cleared the court for him. He drove to the hole and dunked on 3 guys. Literally 3 guys jumped up, straight up in the air, and he went over all 3 of them and dunked and got the foul, free throw, half done. And I would say that was like, yeah, QV Johnson.
I'd have low bridged him.
Mark, I remember that player. You wouldn't have had a chance. He jumps too high.
Hey, I'm 6'5".
Bro, you as a stepper.
Oh man. Coach, I got to tell you, you picked the right three. I agree with you 100% on those. Jordan hurt. 91 still hurts. It still hurts to this day. But
It
I
actually
guess
doesn't
before we get
hurt
out of here,
that much.
yeah,
It doesn't hurt that much.
before
We have 17 rings and only got 6. So
that's right. That's right. These are facts. These are facts. I hope you're hearing this, Mark. These are
man,
facts.
be happy with your 6. You know what? I'll give you a rack so you clean up our 17 trophies in our trophy room.
These are big. The kids call these big facts. Big facts. Just want to educate you guys. That's big facts. Before we get out of here, Coach, I guess the one thing I know, everything shut down, right? March. I would imagine that's like right when recruiting is kind of starting to kick off for you guys. The season is ending and all that. So, I guess kind of just take us through that process if you can, like how you were even able to assemble a roster, for this upcoming season.
Well, I was blessed. I have a lot of returners for one, so it wasn't that hard for me to recruiting guys, and put them in different spots on the team. The challenge was, again, in the beginning, I was saying, was that I couldn't meet these guys face to face. I couldn't have them come in and do workouts, and so basically, it was mainly that they sent me videos, We talked on the phone. Sometimes I even had guys do a workout. They take their phone or laptop, and I'm like, okay, go work out at a park or wherever you can, and let me just watch you. Or, him or his friends might work out together, and I'll probably watch him like that. But I mean, that's basically all I could do was watch game films and practice films that coaches were sending me or the players were sending me.
Welcome to 2020, y'all.
Oh man,
It's in real fast.
Fun times. Only got a couple more months. We're looking forward to it. And we're also going to look forward to the next time we talk to you, Coach. We definitely want to thank Coach, head basketball coach for the Golden West Rustlers, Tony Jimmerson. Thank you very much for coming on with us. And yeah, we are going to have you on in the future because we got to go over that list, and we got a whole bunch of breakdown questions on that list and that player.
What is your list? I wouldn't know your list.
No, we don't. We got to go. We don't have like 2 hours because depending on the day and who I'm talking to, the list may change. But it's Magic. It's Magic, Kareem, and LeBron. Okay, but that's just part of the list. So next time, the list can be Julius Erving, Larry Bird, and then we can have Kobe. But then that's okay. Well, Jordan's on the list too because it would be all right. Tim Duncan might be the greatest player of this generation. I'm gonna look at the 2 bottom right now. The 2 bottom, Tim Duncan, greatest player of his generation.
Wait a minute. Don't forget Bill Russell.
No, I'm not going to forget Bill Russell.
Don't forget Bill. He's got how many of these things?
Thank you.
Rahshaun, I'm so heavy, I can't get it there.
It's okay, but it starts and ends with Magic, okay?
Oh, there it is. There it is.
And since we're going to... So, yeah, we're gonna talk some more because we really got to break it down. So, Tony, thank you very much for joining us. We really appreciate this. Rahshaun Haylock. Thank you. Rahshaun Haylock, thank my man. Appreciate it. And we'll get you on because we miss you, man. We really miss you. Mark Pavlovich, as always, thank you. Ed Ford on the 1s and 2s, always getting us up. I'm Corey Neyland, and once again, you've been watching the show on SportsNetUSA.net.